We've got the divorce lawyers from Simply Divorced, Jamie Kurtz and Courtney Glickman, in to discuss dating after divorce. We're going to play our game Second Time's a Charm and drink our nightcap, Nosotros, Part Dos, tonight on It's Complicated.
You're listening to It's Complicated with your hosts Jennifer Golden and Lauren Leonelli, coming to you live from the AfterBuzz TV studios in Los Angeles, California.
Hello, master daters. Welcome back to an all-new episode of It's Complicated.
The struggle is real when you're dating and divorcing in the city.
Oh, yeah. I'm Jen.
And I'm Lauren. And
tonight, guys.
You guys.
We've got a really fun topic in store for you because we're discussing dating after divorce and all things divorce, really.
It sounds bad, but it's good.
It is good. We're turning our people's frowns upside down.
Yes.
And stuff. So we're discussing this with the lawyers from Simply Divorced. That's Jamie Kurtz and Courtney Glickman.
You guys, these girls know what the fuck they're doing. Jamie was married at 29 and divorced by the age of 30. Whoa. Oh my God. It's like... It happens, and you just got to pick yourself up and start over again.
Yeah, it's like it almost never happened.
She thought this process would be like really quick and inexpensive, but like 1 year and thousands of dollars later, she was still not divorced. Ooh. So she knew there had to be another way to deal with this back and forth and the mounds of paperwork and the costly attorney fees. Ending a marriage is complicated, but divorce shouldn't be. And this is where the idea for Simply Divorced became.
Mm-hmm. And guys... Previously, Jamie worked in practice areas such as intellectual property, business litigation, personal injury, and wrongful death cases, which is a lot different than divorce if you're listening. So I'm sure you guys listen to other podcasts that are about murder and stuff like you said.
I do.
But in 2013 and 2014, she was selected as a rising star in the Southern California Super Lawyers magazine. So she knows her stuff in all the areas.
Yes.
And now really knows her shit.
And what happens if
divorce.
you murder your divorced husband? I bet you she could help you with that too.
I don't know.
Just in case.
Do you have to testify against your divorce
I don't know.
husband?
Let's ask.
We'll find out all these things.
Okay.
All the things.
Courtney also experienced divorce herself as well, and she's got 2 children and I believe a third.
Yeah, a third
now.
with a really cute name.
And she's a busy girl. So she was really vigilant about like how to make the future uncertainties that divorce can bring, like how to ease that for your families and for your kids and for you. So that was her interest. That's what brought this to like fruition for her as well.
Well, it sounds like a marriage of these
Made
two,
in heaven?
Yeah, of these two people that came together over a common
They are never going to get divorced.
topic.
No.
Like we came together over alcohol.
Yeah, true.
So it's like the same but
And
different.
that's never going to break us apart.
Oh God, no. Well, unless someone gets pregnant. Oh. And then we make new friends.
Oh my God, I don't even. That's,
We'll have to
don't
time
talk
it
about
right.
that.
We'll
We're
time it
gonna
right.
have
So
to,
if those people that we're seeing are listening,
you just made me really sad.
no, it's
And
fine.
now I might divorce you.
No,
I'm not. I'm just kidding. I'm not going
Can't
to
do that
yet.
until that baby comes.
Okay.
Okay, so guys, they are the first ladies of divorce and the catalyst to a potential second time at saying I do. Welcome to the studio, Jamie and Courtney.
Hi guys.
Hi.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Oh my
So
gosh.
happy
You know.
to be here.
Yes, and your drink, you guys, which we made for you because before we get into these like heavy topics, we need a drink, and it's like so much more fun when you're dating and divorcing. Drinks help, right?
They sure
Totally.
do.
And so
They do.
tonight we made our nightcap, Nosotros Part Dos, because first is the worst, second is the best, and tequila helps you forget the rest. So we made you guys some tequila with Nosotros tequila and lime.
So cheers.
cheers to
Cheers.
that. Cheers to
Cheers.
divorce and starting anew.
Sure.
Turning
Yeah.
a new leaf.
Turning a new
Turning a new agave leaf.
Yeah. Oh, look at you.
I
Look
know.
at you.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah, well, guys, we're also here to discuss how to have a simple divorce because obviously these girls figured it out and they
Yes.
created Simply Divorced, and also how to date after divorce. Because as we mentioned, you both have gone through that. And now we know Courtney is actually remarried, and that
Yes.
third kid Lauren mentioned is
Yeah.
with that new person.
Yes, it is.
Uh-huh. So, and then Jamie, you have obviously been divorced and dating and
Yes.
stuff.
Yeah.
So, how did this all, come
guys-
about? How did you
Yeah.
find each other in
Yes.
this common
How did you find
thread?
each other? Yeah.
So We knew each other years back. My younger sister has mutual friends with Courtney, so we met 10 plus years ago.
Prior to our first marriages.
Prior to our first marriages.
Whoa.
Yeah, pre-first marriages.
Yes.
We both knew each other, went our separate ways, got married, re-met,
We
Rekindled.
actually rekindled at a party where I met my husband on the same day.
Stop it.
It was
that
meant
was
to
a
be.
fateful day for
Yeah,
you.
so
Yeah.
the universe really came together for me on that day.
We met after we both had gotten divorced, and so I was like, "You," and she was working at a divorce firm, and I was doing civil litigation. I don't know how to deal with murders. Wrongful death is
All right. Well,
civil,
wrongful death,
but that's
it's
okay.
different, yeah.
I can refer you. So
In case
just
we're
in case,
in the
just
market
in
for a
case.
murder.
So
Perfect.
we met, and I was like, "You're doing this at this law firm. I am a civil litigator. I got divorced. You got divorced. This has to it was so expensive. There's so many people our age that are going through this.
Yep.
No one should have to spend all their money. Like, let's do this.
How
I
did-
have this idea. Let's do this." And so she was like, "Yes, let's do it." And we did it.
Okay,
and
but
she also met her husband at that party.
That's
Yeah.
freaking crazy.
Man.
Now, so you both did different types of law. Did you have to like restudy and go? How did that work?
Well,
Well,
I always
Courtney
did
did.
family law.
Oh,
It
you
was
did
all
family
about
law. Okay.
I kind of I learned, studied, taught myself. Courtney taught me, and then
Because
we
once you
just-
pass the bar in California, you can kind of do whatever,
Yeah.
right?
Practice any
Okay.
area of law.
Yeah.
once
And you had
pass
just
the bar.
experienced a divorce and what all that took. So
Yes.
it's like you knew.
You were a pro.
Yeah,
what
and
it
then
was
I
like.
worked at a family law firm to get experience, and then Courtney taught me. Again, I taught myself, and then we just kind of dove into it. Started this company, wanted to be accessible for people I mean, it was mostly started because we were like, let's help women our age.
Yeah.
Obviously, we don't discriminate. We help.
No,
most of our
ironically, our
clients are
first
men.
year were men.
Really?
All men.
Yeah. It's
But that was the
changed.
driving force because you were just trying to relate to somebody just
Yes.
like you. But clearly, it works for both ways.
Yeah.
It works
It definitely
both ways.
Who doesn't want a
Yeah.
simple divorce?
Yeah.
No one's like, I want a hard one.
Yeah.
I want
Well,
one that's going to go
and
on
like
for a million.
you-
Unless you're bleeding someone dry, then
Right.
you're
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
like, I want to be in litigation forever.
Right. But you, like you were saying, you
litigate?
thought it was going to be shorter and quicker and cheaper,
Of
right?
course.
Yeah.
So our niche market really became flat fee divorces for people who were going to stay out of the courtroom and have what we call uncontested divorces.
Uncontested.
So is that
that
like
became-
mediation?
Kind
Similar.
of, except that you don't necessarily need a mediator in order to negotiate terms between the parties.
Okay.
So we help people negotiate with their spouses or another lawyer for their spouse. But if someone wants to fight to the death in court, like you said, get all the money, we're probably not your best bet. We want to help people who want to stay out of court. We
Right.
can go to court if someone needs it, but we are helping people who want to save their money, kind of have,
And have control, because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you're letting a judge who,
Yes.
God forbid he ate something bad for breakfast, is going to make a decision that's going to do their family and your finances and be that way potentially till your kids are 18. So you want to make sure that you're in control of your life.
And
Okay, so that's how you do it in an inexpensive way. You just keep it out of court.
flat
Yes.
fee,
It can
and then
still become expensive, but we do a flat fee to help.
and that's not
curtail
normal.
that.
Normally, it's like an hourly fee,
Yes.
correct? Okay.
Yes.
So you do a flat fee, and then whatever happens after that. And part of your in is to tell the people, like, if you want to go to court, we can do that, but we suggest not to. And then everyone, I think, can. That's a pretty good thing to say to somebody because everyone can relate. Nobody wants to. Well, most people don't want to draw it out. They don't want to go to court. They know it can be expensive. At that point, you're already
Right.
like emotionally traumatized, and you don't want to have to like then also be financially traumatized.
Yeah, most people want to move on. And
Yeah.
it's nice. We've been through it, being able to know that people always ask me, like, isn't your job so depressing? You deal with divorce all day long. But we see them come out the other end. We see
Right.
them, like, move on with their lives, and we help that process and help them learn how to, whether it's co-parenting or, dating and getting back out there and healing. We are part of that process.
Do you give them like personal advice? They probably want it,
People
right?
call for personal advice all the time.
Because they like trust you and
Yeah.
relate. You
Well,
know?
also
We've
you're
gone
not
through
charging
it.
them by the hour, so of course I'm going to call you for all kinds of legal advice too. I'm just going to
call.
pay you to have you as my friend lawyer.
Therapist / divorce lawyer.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, at some point, do you say enough? Like,
Well, I mean,
we've
look,
resolved your issue. You have
more
to
or
stop
less.
calling.
Or it depends. I mean, some people we give more time to, and sometimes we're like, okay, your case is really dragging out, and we are going to do hearings in court. We need to switch over our terms here. But for the most part, we've kept almost every single party we've had out of
Wow.
court. So
That's
and
awesome.
people with kids and custody issues and more involved divorces love to talk to Courtney because that was more her experience with her first marriage. Mine, I'll call a walk away.
What does that even mean?
Yeah,
It just
explain.
means
Elaborate.
that we got married when we were married for 5 months, and then we decided to get
Okay.
divorced.
Now,
How does that happen?
Yes.
Right.
Is that your
Well-
question?
Well, how long were you with the guy before?
2 years all in all.
What the fuck? Did you ever
I'm
break
gonna-
up?
No.
What?
I'm going to go ahead and say I was young.
Okay.
And-
Okay, so then
yeah.
you just realized
It
in
was
that
ju-
moment
Yes.
it was wrong.
I also
Yes.
think that
Got
like
it. That makes sense.
prior to marriage, you're looking at the wedding and all the parties and all the excitement and the
You're
dress. and
distracted.
You're distracted, and you're like, you don't realize what life is going to be like after that day.
And then it's a
happens. And
punch in the face.
yeah, it kind of is. It's a, you know.
If it's wrong. Otherwise, it's happy. We got on the train. We couldn't get off. The train started.
Yep.
Wedding,
Yep.
planning, engagement parties.
How terrifying.
You know, trying to buy a house. You get on. It's so hard to get off.
Yeah,
And
because
so-
you can't
yeah.
go like, well, never mind.
Yeah.
Right.
You
And
can't-
marriage is a lot of work. You have to want to put the work in. Even if things are happy, you have to want to
Oh, yeah.
put in those hours, like any relationship. Except that now you're legally bound, so you really have to want it.
Because
Yeah.
unbinding that legality
You can't just break
is
up
hard.
and
Yeah.
like move out and be like adios. You still
Wait,
got
but
to deal with that person.
How does a divorce begin then? Because like, let's say you live with the person, you have one home, like, and then you're like, bye.
Well, I think the number one question I get from people are, how am I going to tell my spouse I want a divorce?
Yeah.
So they call you before it's even like
Sometimes.
put on the table. Holy
Sometimes.
shit.
Yeah.
But like, is there a script? Do you provide them with like some
No.
sort of meme? Like,
Yeah,
what do you
There's
do?
no script. I just
You're
advise.
like, text him this meme.
Yeah, can you do
I
it
mean-
for me?
Or her.
Yeah, let me do it for you. No, I always tell people, I'm like, you know what? Think of it as like a wedding invitation. You're setting the tone for what is going to be like your next event in life. So you want to be as amicable and calm as possible, and you want to expect that
Oh.
their reaction's not going to be good. And
Right.
I always tell people, I'm like, at that point, you put on your headphones, you don't even listen to what comes next because
Ooh.
that's not going to matter, and people get all riled up, and there's so much anxiety, and that's when I start getting even more phone calls. And I'm like, just pretend like you don't hear what they're saying, because half the time you'll never hear it again.
It's just like that moment of anger and confusion and
course.
sadness and like stuff comes out.
Surprise,
And you've already
everything
decided,
else.
so like, who
Yeah.
cares really what they say after that?
God,
Well, people are like, I'm going to take the kids, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do
Oy.
that. And then it's like, the dog or whatever it might be that's important to
Oh,
you.
the dog.
Yeah.
Exactly. Then you're getting all upset and you're anxiety. You're calling your attorney and you're like, can they really take the dog? And I'm like,
Can they?
Relax.
Well, I
Wait.
mean, yeah.
Can they?
I mean,
Well,
yes.
considered
It has to go
property?
somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
Yes.
the dog is, yeah.
You have
I
to-
mean, you can't let the dog live on its own.
You have
Well,
to
of course
reach an
not.
agreement on the custody of the dog.
It's just like a child.
Wait,
yeah.
is.
this is wild. Okay, what if you had the dog before entering into this relationship?
Then it's your dog.
Yeah, then it's your separate property.
Okay,
We'll call it
she is
that.
mine.
She's
Perfect.
make a prenup and
Moji's
put
in
her
the-
in it. Or
Moji's in the
yes.
studio, obviously.
I have
We
a
can-
question.
We can do prenups for you as well.
What is the difference between a living trust and a prenup? Like if
Okay.
I have a living trust right now,
Yes.
all of my assets are under this umbrella, then I don't need a prenup.
Okay. In this state, probably not, because we're in a community property state, meaning that everything you walk into the marriage with is your separate property, and only things acquired during marriage are considered community property. In a lot of states, that's not the case. And so you do, a lot of the times, need a prenup. So in California, you're probably safe. However, you have a business, you had it before, it might thrive during marriage,
Sure.
and you don't want anyone to have claim to that.
What if you buy a house together before you get married?
Yes, you definitely want some type of documentation.
We can
Of-
also you can do a cohabitation agreement.
Ugh.
Okay,
Which
wait,
is-
explain what that is. That sounds
That's-
fun.
That's
So
a new
that-
trend.
Yeah, that's a new trend. We've done some of those too. So
I'm gonna
that
need one of those.
is a version, I'd say a version of a prenup when
Okay.
you're not contemplating marriage. So
You're just going to move in together.
Which
Yeah.
is like a thing people do now.
Purchasing
They're like,
an
I don't need
asset.
that.
It's part of
Yeah.
the process.
Yeah.
buying real estate, you know, any other significant asset where you want to basically define the terms of who owns it and what will happen if you, for whatever reason,
But-
break up.
Okay, great. But what if you're both putting, like, okay, I have a friend that before she owned a house, before she met this guy, she then used the equity of that house to buy another house with her then husband, and now they're getting divorced. And she put more down, that like 3 times the amount than he did for a down payment. So how do you do that then?
Well, your down payment, you're always entitled to that back.
Oh, okay.
So she'd be fine. And not to mention, she could probably trace the assets back to her separate property original
Got
house.
it.
But
You just have to have paperwork and
Yeah,
be
a
organized.
paper trail.
And
Do you
document.
need like a forensic accountant to go do that?
Sometimes,
we
yes.
have a lot of forensic accounts. You want to avoid them. If you just keep your own paper trail and are organized about major assets and things like that, then generally speaking, you don't need a forensic
Yeah.
accountant.
Right.
If everyone's friendly and wants to cooperate and you have organized records about your finances and what you're spending and which money comes from where, then you can do it without a forensic accountant.
Or you make that cohabitation document
Yeah.
or just document things every step of the way.
Right.
Yeah, you
Which
can
is
even do
super
a-
romantic.
Which
So
is,
romantic.
I think it's smart to do that anyway.
It is.
Yeah.
I think now,
It makes you put everything out on
Yes.
the table. And if
Right.
you're going to marry someone, then you need to feel comfortable talking about your finances with them.
I honestly wouldn't have a problem if, like, I wouldn't have a problem if someone presented that to me. And I don't think that my boyfriend will have a problem when that is presented to him. Like, if I say this is my idea, I think he'd be like, yeah.
Right.
I just think it makes sense now. Like, didn't it used to be so taboo to like ask for a prenup, and it was so insulting.
Right.
I mean, divorce was taboo not that long ago.
True.
Yeah,
But
true.
I mean, I just like keeping things organized and like making things easier for just the rest of your life. I don't know. I just think that's cool. To
And
just
people do
organize.
post-nuptial agreements now.
What is
Agreements
that?
after
Well,
marriage.
yeah,
So, like, after marriage, if you buy a house together, you can still come up with an agreement of how that's going to work.
Oh, like, why would you do that, though? Like, for kids or something? Or
Just to say, like, in the event that we were to get divorced, this house, I put in this much, you put in this much, I'm going to pay the mortgage, you're going to pay the property tax, and this is what we're going to do with the profits. Or maybe I'm putting money into construction to do some improvements on the home. And I
Okay.
want that back.
Okay, so
Things
that's
like that.
in the event of a potential divorce, but it's after you got married.
Yes.
Right, after
Okay.
you get married, just in preparation.
Oh my
Also
God,
really
that's
romantic.
romantic. That's like, here, honey, slide it across the table.
Be like, I was thinking, should things go south?
If we get divorced. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Not
but,
saying that I want to.
but I mean,
if
it's no different than doing
I
it
leave you
before. It's still
for
the same
someone
subject.
else.
It's just
Yeah.
Yeah.
anyway, documenting every step of the way, which it just makes it easier in the end. Or if it never is a problem, then it's never a problem.
I feel like instead of doing the whole post-nup thing, which by the way, if you didn't already do it before you get married, fine. It's great that it's an option. But like you should really just start from the beginning. Like know
Yes.
that this is something you care about, to be organized and like keep everybody's
I gave you a cohabitation agreement. Here's the prenup. Here's the postnup. This is like standard. Why are you
Like
surprised?
we just continue to reevaluate our business partnership.
I mean, Jen wants to run her family like a business. She wants
do.
to make her children like positions of the company. Like one's the CEO,
Yeah,
one's
that
the
makes
yeah.
sense.
No, I'm sorry. I'm the CEO.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're, whatever.
Hello.
That's not
Until
a
I
bad
retire,
idea.
which means I die.
Not a
So
bad idea.
Well, those
Right?
kids are gonna cut your breaks then.
they might, but
And take
or
your
maybe
fucking
they'll be
life
happy they have
insurance.
food. I don't know. And maybe head of kitchen will be really happy to get their allowance after they've cleaned the table every day for a week.
kitchen.
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea.
You better have 700 children.
Why?
Because
don't
you
wanna
have
do
a
that.
lot of jobs to give.
No, they're gonna each have multiple jobs. There's many hours in the
I
day,
don't
many
want
days
my
in the
kids
week.
to do. I want my kids to do the jobs, but I'm like so neurotic that I'm like, just let me do it for you.
Not me.
Oh,
I'm gonna teach them once. You put in the time, and then they do it.
not.
And then if they
good,
don't do
not-
it, they get demoted and stuff.
Demoted.
I'm
know?
sure. Oh,
There's
yeah.
gonna be
oh,
regular
darn,
reviews.
I don't want to have to vacuum anymore. I'm so upset about losing my vacuuming job.
Okay, well then you don't get a car when you turn 16
oh,
or whatever
well,
they
that's
change
good.
it
I
to
mean,
at
there.
that point.
I like that. Yeah, a flying vehicle.
Did you earn it? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I like that.
It's up to you. The future is in your hands, kids of my future. So
Well, that's very romantic. You should put that in your prenuptial
Prenup.
agreement. Our kids
Definitely.
will have jobs.
wait, okay.
Well,
can
you
you
should
put
definitely talk about it. If you have an idea like that you feel strongly about, I suggest putting it out on the table
Before. So,
Before
what,
you
did you
get
guys
married.
feel like you ran into that problem? Was that part of
that parenting? That's
the
a thing.
No,
Parenting
that's
is
something to talk about
huge.
before. Did you guys feel like you had one thing? I mean, I guess it's hard to say that, but one thing that felt like it wasn't communicated well, so it ended up resulting in the demise of the relationship?
I mean, not in my original marriage, no, but I think there's always like a different type of relationship when you're bringing in a third party to kind of fill a potential parenting role. And like, where do you draw that line?
Okay.
Can that person discipline and like, do they need to talk to you first about it? And, how comfortable and when is that okay? And when is it not okay? There's so many different things I feel like that can complicate that situation.
yeah.
But in my first original marriage, I didn't have that problem. I was kind of the head of the head of all the children.
You were CEO.
Well,
yeah,
it's
I was
different.
CEO of the children.
It's different when you bring a child into the relationship. My boyfriend has a child. So I feel like my parenting skills, when I'm with her, I am in charge of her and she is my responsibility and her
course.
well-being and all of that. And I was also a nanny for like 15 years before this.
But you're only 7.
But so I was like very young.
You were negative.
I was, yes. But it's different for me to parent my own child than it is for me to parent her. So
But eventually, if you're living in the same house,
Yes.
how does that? Your new child's going to feel like something's unfair potentially.
Totally.
If you're getting the older child get away with things you wouldn't let your new child get away with.
Oy vey.
And I think
know.
my parenting
Guys.
style is different than my boyfriend. So, like,
Yes.
I notice things he doesn't, or vice versa. And so sometimes I'm like, I have to bite my tongue. Why are you not?
Choose your battles.
Right? No.
Or have some sort of home agreement.
Yeah, no. There, but I'm just
A
saying,
home agreement.
bringing
We
a
can draft
child,
those.
bringing
I want an agreement for every single thing.
every time he makes a move, there is an agreement and
Yeah,
a document
you
signed.
violated the TV agreement.
Oh God, that's a great way to keep him
You
coming
violated
back.
the social media agreement.
I mean,
You need some remedies now for all these violations.
That's
that
what you're
racking
here
up.
for. You have the remedy.
blowjobs.
What?
I'm just saying, there you.
That would be a reward.
Oh,
not a
Right.
reward.
I'm like, I'm
Right.
sorry.
Reward.
I thought we were talking punitive.
In my life, that would be that would definitely be a
punishment?
punitive punishment.
Yeah.
Not that wouldn't be something I'd voluntarily give out.
Yeah,
No, right.
Lauren. Lauren's like, back 9. It's fine.
The back nine. I think that
All right.
equals. I'm going to put that in mind. Playing the back nine, allowing the man to play the back nine, means no rent paid that month.
Fine. Home agreement.
Home agreement.
Okay.
I mean, I have to get
This is something
the
new we could
person
do.
to agree with me, but I'm just saying, putting that out on the table. But it's a good point. If you have specific ideas about when you want to get married or what a marriage looks like and kids and all that, that should be discussed before, because
Yes.
after the fact, you're on this runaway train and then life happens and you're there together and you're married, and then what?
Okay, so should shit go south? What happens to the engagement ring, the wedding ring, the presents that you were given
Oh,
throughout
God.
the years,
Well,
the
I-
art that
yes.
was purchased
So-
for your birthday?
Yes. An engagement. Well, Courtney can talk about the engagement ring.
Okay, so assuming that you get married, the engagement ring is yours. Up until the day of marriage, you have to give it back. So if you're calling off your engagement, you got to be prepared to hand that ring back.
So someone could take you to court over that?
Yes.
Yeah.
What if they don't
There's
take you to
law
court?
about
Can
it.
you keep it?
I mean, if they don't ask for it back, I don't see why not. But technically,
They'll probably ask
They'll
for
probably
it back.
ask
Is there a certain amount of time they have to ask for it back? Or
No.
10 years when you're remarried to somebody else, can they be knocking on the door I would like to buy a new
Probably.
car with that ring?
Would
I
they
don't know.
check if you took that
Lost
diamond
it.
out and put in a fake and gave it back?
Well, what
I
if they
would
take
be
it to an
able to
appraiser?
tell.
that
Of
might
course.
be fraud.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
if we should go down the criminal path
No,
there.
don't do
Yeah.
that.
We're trying to avoid going to jail for
I
divorce.
don't do that.
Right.
I've just had an idea.
But
But,
once you're
yeah.
married, the ring is yours. And if you get divorced, whether it's 5 months later or 6 years or 10 years later, that ring is yours. You can decide to do whatever you want with it. You
And
can
the
sell it.
gifts, you can keep
No,
the
the gifts are yours. You have to split them, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually was married for so short a time that I felt the right thing to do would be to send everyone their money back and give the gifts back.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh
What
my
if you opened
goodness.
the gift, though? What if you'd already
Well,
opened it?
Yeah,
If
did you
we
use
didn't
the
really-
Cuisinart?
I mean,
Yeah,
we
and then
weren't
send it
married
back?
for that long. Everything kind of sat in the boxes.
Are you sure there weren't some crumbs and
We didn't return anything that was used,
Okay.
but
Sorry.
anything that
Yeah, those
for a lot
people
of
really got
credit-
screwed.
$12,000 cappuccino maker. That
There were a
didn't.
lot of credits from Williams Sonoma and Gary's, which is in LA.
Yeah.
And we just sent people their money back.
That's
you
really
don't
nice.
have to do that. That's not
Yeah.
a legal thing. That's just it's whatever you want to do.
But okay, so now going back to the length of time that you are married, that has to do with an talk
Oh.
about an annulment and a
Yeah.
divorce and
So,
what
yeah.
makes that different.
So an annulment is difficult to get in California.
And it sounds like it's hard to determine because so if they're not in the right state of mind, well, how
Yeah.
do you how did Kim Kardashian get an annulment from what's his name, the
Money.
basketball player?
Yeah, so for an annulment, you have to prove fraud or someone's not in their right state of mind. There's some other options. I don't know them all off the top of my head because it is hard to get an annulment, and you have to go to court, and it's a big like prove up hearing to get an annulment. I think there's an amount of time that's required, that it can only be a certain number of years or months you're married, and then you have to prove something. So it's hard to usually get them.
And if it's annulled, that means it's not recognized that it ever happened.
Right.
Even though everybody knows because they were there.
Because then we can say Kim Kardashian got an annulment,
And
we were
everyone's like,
I will
she's-
never forget that.
Yeah.
She married Chris Humphries. Like,
By
we
the way,
watched
that
it.
was the same time that I was getting married and divorced, and it was like and I said to my sister who's in entertainment, can you talk to her people? I feel like I want to talk to her. I feel like we're going through the same thing.
No, I bet.
I didn't
there
ever
a
talk to
support
Kim
group?
Kardashian. There should have been.
But
annulments?
still, you felt
it
the
was
pain.
the same. I think we got married in the same month, like
Oh
July
my God.
2011.
Maybe that month is just bad luck.
I think it was Mercury.
I got married in July,
Mercury
too.
was in
The first time?
retrograde.
First time.
Oh, see?
See?
I was told that Mercury was in retrograde when I got
Shit.
married. So you also want to find out, make sure your wedding date's okay before you.
Go to
set
your
it.
shaman.
Yeah.
Go to
Do
your
you guys
astrologist.
do you guys tell people that?
No.
No, I'm telling them now.
And our audience
I think you
likes
should.
this kind
No,
of
you
thing.
should.
So good. we have psychics on here all the time.
Yeah, I listen to the psychic. I
Yeah.
love her. But
Yeah.
I would say if you're into that, find a date that's like not
Totally.
in Mercury, the right time.
Well, I feel like July, no one's like wedding season's in July.
You know what? Don't also. Well, okay. Sorry if you guys did this, but I feel
They
like
did.
people that get married on a holiday, it's Memorial Day weekend.
I feel the same way as
I'm
you.
like, why are you stealing that from me?
Yep.
I actually don't care. In fact, I am having my wedding on a holiday weekend.
Which one? Which holiday weekend?
It's gonna be. I don't actually know. Someone
I
has to
am
propose
like
first,
not
but
about
stay
that.
tuned.
Stay tuned
I'm
for
like, what happens if you get married in another state? You get your marriage license in the state you live in, correct?
that. No, you get your marriage license in the state where you're legally getting married.
But then-
Jamie actually married me
Oh,
the
yeah.
second time around.
I can marry and divorce people.
Yeah.
One stop shop right here.
Such a beautiful full circle
Yeah.
thing that you
Cool.
It
offer.
was fun. That was a fun wedding ceremony.
Wait, though. So the state of California has crazy rules about alimony and shit. It's like 50-50.
It doesn't matter actually where your marriage license is from in terms of divorcing. It's where you
Okay.
reside.
Got
Like in
it.
California,
Yeah.
you have to reside here for 6 months
Okay.
to qualify for
Got it.
Yes.
California divorce.
That's it.
and
You have to live
California
here for
divorce
6
can
months?
be it's very 50-50.
Yeah,
Yeah.
community property
yeah,
state, which
yeah.
means that anything that you've acquired during marriage or any debt that you've incurred during marriage is 50-50.
Yeah, it's
What's
it
an
could-
irreconcilable difference? Or no, what are they conscious on? What is it that they say?
Yeah,
Everyone
irreconcilable
says
difference.
that.
irreconcilable difference means we just can't agree to disagree, so we have to get divorced now. Nobody cheated, nobody's abusing, nobody.
It doesn't matter. Even if someone did cheat, we're in no-fault divorce state. It's basically irreconcilable differences is the only reason, unless someone is having some type of mental breakdown potentially, and you have another reason to get divorced.
What's that called?
And then that, if in a certain amount of time, can be annulled
Maybe.
what?
Potentially,
because
maybe.
you're
Yeah.
mentally not sound.
That's why you need a
There's-
lawyer, guys.
yeah, there's a
'Cause
lot
this
of
stuff's hard.
Getting annulled is a whole ordeal.
Yeah.
And you definitely need, if you want that, call us. We can't, we'll help you through
And
it.
so
But
you,
does that cost the same flat fee? Which is, by the way, what is the flat fee?
$5,500
wow,
Okay,
great.
for everything. Not including filing fees
Yeah, and costs.
and costs.
Fees.
But
Of course, there's other stuff, but that's a pretty good basic thing to just present in the time of I'm so stressed out with 700 things
Yes.
coming at
Yeah.
me.
What's
This
the
is
time
it.
frame
Yeah.
that you offer with this?
So California basically has a requirement. They will not divorce you in less than 6 months and 1 day from the day you file. That is the fastest the judge will look at your agreement.
Wow.
Why is that?
So you have to wait at
a
least 6
cooling
months.
off period.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I mean, Australia's is almost 2 years, so we should be happy that we have a 6 month and 1
They
day.
really-
at that point, it's like indentured servitude.
they really drag it down
or they don't
under.
trust your choices because you drink too much. What do they drink over there?
beer.
Foster's.
Yes.
Okay, so 6 months and 1
It
day.
usually takes us 6 months to a year to finalize a client's divorce, but it also depends on they set the pace.
Yes.
So our process is it's not difficult, and we can do it as quickly as someone wants, or sometimes they kind of drag their feet a little bit.
So if they're uncontested, that makes it easier. If they're contested, then
Then you're at
that's
the mercy of the court and their court dates and everything in between.
Yeah.
There's only so much we can do about that.
Yeah.
You have to go to trial. You basically go to trial in front of a judge, and the judge makes rulings and orders on custody, support, what you're doing with the house,
A stranger.
All the
Good.
other
what you're
assets.
doing with your bank account. And
Right.
so,
Instead of just sitting in a room with Jamie and Courtney and like talking about it like a real person.
Yeah.
By the way,
Makes
you
so much
don't
more sense.
even have to sit in a room with us. We love doing divorces on the phone and via email.
Divorce by email.
Most people don't want to see their divorce attorney more than once.
Yeah.
Oh my
Okay.
They always want to talk to
But
me
you guys are so
500
fun.
times a day.
Yeah,
We'll
totally.
talk to you whenever you want.
Yeah.
But you don't have to come see
It's
us.
easier.
Yeah, it's easier.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
easier.
you're just relaying information back
Right,
and
it's like
forth.
paper
Yeah.
pushing, and they could just send it to you. Also, okay, so the 6 months and 1 day thing, like, where do you go during that time? Can you date? Do you
Yeah.
do you sit? Do you,
You can do
live
anything.
together?
Once you're
Where do you go?
separated, I mean, some couples have to live together. They have no choice, financially speaking. They have no other options. Most people don't do that if they can help it. You don't really want to live with the person you're
Yeah,
divorcing.
awkward.
Probably. So, yeah, people date during that time. I was engaged before my divorce was finalized.
Yes.
Look at you. I like
cares?
that.
So you can do whatever you,
you are
want.
CEO.
Yeah. But like, I always think that's so weird. My parents were separated when I was like 6, and they didn't legally get divorced until they were like 25 years later or something. It just because my dad was going to get remarried, so then they had to do
Right.
it. And our friend was a lawyer, and he was drawing up the documents for them, and he was like, "Do you know what today is?" And they were like, And he's like, "It's your 25th wedding anniversary today."
Whoa.
And my mom looked at my dad and went, "I can't believe you're doing this to me." And then she was like, "Just kidding." Like, she didn't fucking care. It was a joke at that point. But like, they did whatever they did in those many years that transpired in between. Like, so maybe it's because I grew up with that, but I was like, people are like, he's not legally divorced yet. I'm like, he's separated. It's paperwork.
Wait,
at
but
this
what is
point.
separation?
And
why
there's
does it
legal
sound so
separation
formal?
too, right?
Separation is legally separating basically the community. So
Ending the community property, ending
So-
the community of the marriage. So everything you earn at that point is.
So it's like
Oh.
it's an end point. You're
Yeah,
like, today we
endpoint.
no longer share things.
Yes.
So it makes
Exactly.
sense to do that if you want to like sort of document, like we were saying, the
An
process
end
of
date.
things that are happening.
And you have to
Right.
file that with someone?
You don't have to. People do if like you're not rushing to get remarried, or if you are concerned people aren't going to agree. Sometimes people do go ahead and file, and that's a whole nother issue. But most of the time, it's just listed on your divorce petition.
Yeah. The way to start a divorce is for one person to file initial documents, including a petition. And on the petition, it says your date of separation, and it
Okay.
says both of your names, where you live, if you have any kids, and basically you're getting divorced for irreconcilable differences. That's where it says that.
Yeah.
And then that's the date on the paperwork. Your date of separation is the date that you go by that everything gets split from that date.
Okay.
But you can just be separated. You can let your divorce go on for years. The
Yes, like
court-
my parents.
If you file though and you don't do anything for like a year, the court will send you a letter and say, "What's
Right.
going on? Are you guys still alive? Do
Yeah.
you want to do this?"
Did you murder each other?
You can stay separated and not get divorced for as long as you want.
Yeah.
Except
Don't
if
file.
you do want to get remarried,
Then you
do
have
need
to
get
file,
Yeah.
which is what my parents
You can't
did.
be married
so
to two people.
once this
No, you
in
cannot.
case you guys thought you could.
Yeah, well, unless you're Mormon. Okay, I
Right.
shouldn't say that.
We don't know that, so that's
Well.
not in our expertise.
I shouldn't say that because my mom's whole side of the family is Mormon.
Well, I don't think they
And they're
listen
like,
to
we
this
don't
show.
do that. I'm like, I fucking hope they don't. I'm drinking tequila and swearing and talking about premarital sex. Sorry.
I'm sure there's some documentary on Netflix we can watch about that.
I think there is. Okay, so now after this simple process, because thanks to you guys, has gone on, now dating someone who's been divorced or yourself, you are a divorcee dating. Why is this a good thing? Because we often on our show talk about dating in your 30s, or I mean, we're not, 22 years old anymore. So the dating pool of guys or whoever you're wanting to date at this age has most likely been in obviously a very serious relationship, live with someone, kids, marriage, or all of
They
the
don't
above.
have no baggage.
So
They have
Yes.
all of the baggage.
whether it's any of those things or being divorced and then back in the dating game, like, why is that a good thing? What do you think made you guys
I think
better?
it's great. I think that, I mean, obviously it's hard to go back out there, especially with apps. I mean, when I got married the first time, we didn't have dating apps. All of a sudden I'm like, wow, this is cool. There's like Tinder and Bumble or whatever else out there. But I think I had a different group of men potentially available to me because I wasn't so stuck on having more kids. I wasn't in a rush to get married again. In fact, I didn't even really care if I ever got married again or had more kids. So I was open to the men who maybe had been divorced or had kids and didn't want any more kids. And so there was no pressure coming from me at all. There was no timeline.
That's awesome.
So I think that gave me a little bit of an advantage. Now,
They got you a
obviously-
new husband and a kid.
Yeah, I backfired on me because I
Look where
ended up
she is
remarried
now.
with a kid.
How well, yeah, but they always say stuff like that when you take the pressure off yourself, even like trying to have a kid.
Yeah.
Like you hear those stories about we tried
Yeah.
forever and then we adopted and then we got pregnant because it's
Yep.
like you took the pressure off yourself. What was the timeline between your divorce or separation to marriage?
2 years.
Okay, that seems fair.
I mean, I was single for 5 years.
Oh my
don't
God,
know
I
what
was
happened
single
during
for
that time.
a long time, but that's not. I wasn't not looking. It just happened that way.
Well, maybe when you stop putting pressure on things, that's when stuff happens.
It did kind of
guys.
happen like that for me too.
I also had less time because I was with my kids. And,
Yeah.
You know, I when I went on a date, it required me having a nanny or a babysitter or someone else watch my kids. So like my time was much more valuable to me. I didn't have excess time.
Right.
And so you weren't gonna. It's almost like your ears perked up and your sensors perked up. Like I'm not gonna date this guy just because he asked me. Like you're only gonna give your time to someone you feel like is really ticking
Or
off the
someone
boxes.
who's going to have fun with, and I sort
Yeah.
of enjoy my actual
it has
time
to benefit
out.
you in some
Yes.
way. Otherwise, it's a chore, and you already have 2 kids. You don't need another one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Except
Well,
then you
we
ended up having
see a
another.
lot of, singles before they hit the market. So we're
Yeah.
almost like matchmakers on the side.
Okay, wait. So now,
Oh.
Jamie, you are not
Single.
remarried. So you are
I'm
single.
not remarried yet.
So what was getting back out there like for you? Did you go on the apps? Is there one that is better
When
for divorcees?
Yeah.
I think they're all pretty good for everyone. But when the first person I met, I would say that I was set up so soon after I got separated. So
Okay.
like a month after I got separated,
Ooh.
I got set up, and I don't think that was enough time
Yeah.
because I kind of just transferred the issues to another person. It was the exact opposite of the person that my ex. So it was really fun and like I was obsessed with the person and it was the best thing ever. But I think I needed more time.
Yeah.
So I would recommend, I mean, to each his own, to each his or her own, but I think kind of figure out what went wrong, reflect, and then go out there.
And within that, that's great advice. Within that transferring your issues, I think you also to take time to recognize what the issues were.
Yes.
Because it's easy to fall into a comfort zone of like, even if you know like, oh, well, what was wrong is that I liked this guy that was like too codependent or whatever the issue was, you for whatever reason might find yourself being attracted to that even though you know it was a bad thing because it was what was you were used to.
Right.
So make sure you recognize what you thought went wrong and what you go for
Yes.
and to not do that.
Maybe
again.
ask around, survey your friends, go to
Yeah.
a therapist.
Well,
I
I
don't know. I
prioritize.
think it's good to kind of figure out what went wrong, like feel it, go through everything, go through all the emotions, and then when you feel ready,
And that's different for
Meet someone
everybody. It
else.
could be
Yeah.
a month for
Could
somebody
be different
else
for
who
everyone.
had one foot out the door for a
Right.
year
It could be
before.
totally different.
Yeah.
exactly. But
I
for
always
me,
make
it
Jamie
was
do
soon.
this like prioritizing exercise.
Yes.
Where I'm like, what's
Courtney's
most
my
important?
coach.
Are you looking for looks? Are you looking for success? Are you looking for drive? Are you looking for someone who's generous and kind? What are you looking for?
And does that-
let's start from the top and work our way down.
Okay.
What's least important? And then when she says something and she's like, his teeth are too spaced or something
No,
like
I
that.
don't
Or
say stuff
no,
like
I know,
that.
but if you did.
Okay.
She's like, guys,
That
for the
happens.
record, I did not say
I
that.
did
No,
It
she
wasn't
did
his
not say
teeth.
that. But then I'm like, okay, well, that was like really low on the priority list. So like, I'm going to ignore that comment.
Yeah,
perfect.
but I would say apps are great. So now, I mean, that was the first relationship I had right out of the gate, and I've dated a lot over the years.
Yeah.
And
Tons. She's dating nonstop.
But the apps are good.
I just
That's
live
how
vicariously.
Yeah.
I love that.
I make Courtney go on the apps now for me, and she starts conversations. She okays the people.
Oh, yeah.
She's
I
my
think
coach
dating
over
with
here.
friends is great. There
takes
should
a
be an app
village.
like
It really
Words
does.
with Friends, Dating with
It
Friends.
takes a village, and that is something that we agree. Like, especially if you're getting back out there after a traumatic experience like a divorce, ask your friends like for help, or somebody, you're stuck in the bubble of you and it's hard to recognize things like maybe what you're attracted to that you shouldn't be, or things that you might do wrong, or just old weird habits, and have somebody that's like gently sort of helping you, because
Yeah.
it's hard. There's so many things going on at that time in your life. Like it would be hard to decipher.
And I feel
think.
like you can't cancel anyone out. Like if I dated someone that Jamie was maybe going on a date with and I didn't like him, that doesn't mean that she's not going to like him.
Right.
So you gotta
Well, unless they're
remember.
like a certifiable asshole,
yes.
murderer,
There are totally
terrible
cases
person.
when that
Yeah.
would
Of
apply.
course.
Totally
Right.
agree.
Yeah.
Now, being that you both have been divorced, what do you offer as advice to our listeners for if they were potentially going to date somebody who's divorced? What can they expect getting into it with somebody that has been divorced?
I highly recommend it. I like dating people who have been married because I feel like they get it.
Even if you
like
yourself,
what it
for
takes.
yourself, you get it because you've been
Yeah,
divorced.
right.
But even for a
But
girl
also-
who hasn't been divorced.
Yeah, they have experienced a marriage. They've experienced, obviously something went wrong, which is sad, but hopefully they're, better off out of the marriage. But they know what it's like to be committed to someone. They most likely want to be committed again. They have responsibility. What do you think?
I mean, I tell my husband all the time, like, I'm a catch and I'm a divorcee. So I feel like.
And he
it's
was
good.
not divorced
He was
before.
not.
No,
Never
not
married.
divorced, never
Okay.
married.
But you also don't come with like debt to pay your ex-husband alimony, do you?
No, but I come with 2 kids and not like enough child support to support everything. So, I have my own version of debt potentially. And,
true.
I have 2 little kids running around my house all the time, obviously now a third. But at the time, this poor guy was a bachelor and all of a sudden he's moving in with this divorcee when her 2 2-year-old toddlers running around. It's a lot.
It's a lot. I'm there.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And so it's a big change. I mean, I think it's beneficial because I know how to communicate well. I think most people who have been married have had to acquire that skill in some way, shape, or form. So I think there's a benefit. But obviously, from the receiving end, where you're on the other side and you weren't the one who was married and divorced, there is a lot of potential other stuff that comes with it. Ex-spouses you have to deal with if there's kids, and potentially going through modifications of support in the future and dealing with that ex, spouse. It
Wait,
can be a
okay,
lot of
so who
work.
pays for what? How does that all get determined? Does it ever go away? When does it go away?
18.
So
Or
child
decided
support,
by you.
Child support, 18.
Yeah.
Spousal support's a whole different ballgame. If you've been married for 10 years, potentially forever, there's no time limit.
Even if that person gets remarried to somebody else?
No,
no,
that
okay.
changes it.
Yeah, I was going to say.
That's a
And
loophole.
also, unless you have a prenup.
Or,
Right.
That
yeah,
states
I mean,
no.
luckily California isn't really big into we're going to pay this person forever. They usually cap it at some point. It's the length of the marriage or something like that. You
Sure.
come to an agreement over. But under 10 years, half the length of the marriage is all you're
And if you have
entitled
no
to.
kids, well, then that's also different.
Just spousal.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking
But
about.
I think you do need to be aware and prepared that if there is an ex-wife or husband, then that person's going to potentially be in your life too. So
Oh.
you want to make sure that maybe everyone gets along if possible.
Yeah.
So you
Or-
swipe right on somebody that's divorced and their ex-wife. It's like this other little thing.
You should have like a little box with
Right.
the picture of the ex-wife on the top.
It's
Yeah.
like a weird second head.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, you have to deal, and especially if there's a child involved.
Of
I mean,
course.
I have to be quite involved at some points with my boyfriend's daughter's mother, and it's as amicable as it could be. It's totally fine, and I think we all work on trying to make that totally fine, because the realization is that this person, we're all involved in the well-being of this child, so you have to keep that in the forefront. But yeah, every decision that we make or that she makes affects us and her, and it's like, it's a hard thing to work through sometimes because everyone's priorities and lives are different. So you have to keep that in mind when someone, even if they have a great relationship or not, it doesn't matter, it still affects the current
Right,
relationship.
there's a third party involved.
Yeah.
And it's probably better to get that out on the table early.
Yeah.
Like,
Just
what would
kind of-
you say?
I would find out. I would just ask questions when you felt comfortable doing so about his or her relationship
With
with
the
the
ex,
ex and
yeah.
the kids, and how often do you see your kids, and do they live with you, and how often
What
do
the
you and your
agreement
ex-
is.
Yeah,
Right.
what the agreement is.
Yeah, you need to understand what's going on in the person's life, because your dinner dates is not, it's a very small section of what their life looks like.
Yeah.
When they go home,
Yes,
if they
it
have
is.
kids running around, that's not even real.
Right, they have a lot of responsibility that
It's-
doesn't
Yeah.
involve you yet. So
And you'll probably find out if you're spending a lot of time with the person if there's a crazy ex, because
Yeah.
you'll be seeing phone calls and texts.
And every ex is
Emails
going to
and-
seem crazy to you at some point.
At
because
some point.
well, also, how do you not judge them when you know that, obviously it didn't work out, and now you're hearing these stories again?
of
You're hearing it from
course,
one
you're
side,
biased.
But you have to, I think you have to keep that in mind. Sometimes in moments of frustration, will say it's not all the other person's fault. Take a deep
That is
breath,
true.
because it's not. Like, the other person's side of the story is their side of the story. We're not there. We don't know what happens.
the
And
truth is
sometimes-
always somewhere in the middle.
It's always
I
somewhere
tell
in the
my
middle.
friends that all the time. They get really annoyed with me, and I'm like, I hear what you're saying, but the truth is not that, and it's not what they're saying.
Exactly.
It's the middle, and
Let's
that's what
figure it
is.
out. Exactly.
Which is why I think you should always bring someone with you to chaperone your life.
Yes,
because there
totally.
needs to be a
That's
witness.
Courtney.
I want to go
To
on
the
all
things.
of Jamie's dates
And
with
like,
her. I
you should.
literally ask her
Well, you're like
nonstop.
Roxanne. You're like whispering in her ear
Yeah,
what to say because
exactly.
you've already swiped right on the guy and
I've
picked him.
Yeah, I mean, I've already thought about that. Like, I want her to wear a headset and like go
Yeah,
on a date. But then
like
I'm like,
this.
why the headset? I should just pull up a chair and sit right there.
You should. I think
think
that
so.
also it weeds people out because if they're cool with the fact that
Yeah.
you're like 2 for the price of 2, then you know what? That's cool.
Well,
If you have
she
to
and
buy
her
us both
husband-
dinner on
Yeah.
the first date, then like you're a winner.
Right.
She
If they're
and her
into it.
husband meet the guys I'm dating if I like them pretty early on.
I like that.
I
And
like that
give
that's a
it
filter.
yay or nay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're
Yeah.
going to be fucking dealing with her when we
Yeah.
get divorced. So you
Exactly.
better watch it.
So we're gonna play a game real quick
Yeah.
Okay.
about divorce. Surprise.
Don't be shocked.
As though that wasn't coming.
Yeah. Okay. So if you are part of the Second Wives Club or want to be, sometimes the march down the aisle for the second time is better than the first. And we can think of some famous couples who have had better luck with nuptial number 2. So we're going to name a celebrity and who they first married. And we need our divorce experts, Courtney and Jamie, to name the second more successful marriage in a
Jamie, this is
game
all on
we
you.
called Second Time's a Charm.
We're gonna just, start with a real famous guy, Will Smith, and his first wife, Cherie Zampino, who I don't think is famous at all. Who is he currently married to, guys?
Jada Pinkett
Jada,
Smith.
I know this
Yes.
one.
Obviously.
All right.
Good. We won.
Let's do Reese Witherspoon and formerly Ryan Phillippe, but now,
Jim Toth.
yeah, the
Man.
agent.
Wow.
I
Good
love
one.
him. By the way, he is my type. If
Really?
there's any
He's
Jim
cute.
Toth lookalikes listening,
Tall and cute. Yeah.
Contact AfterBuzz.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
And it's complicated.
Right. We will help you out. Okay. So the next one, how about this? Nick Lachey and Jessica Simpson.
which one do you want?
We want
Both of
Nick
them?
Lachey's more
Yeah.
success. Oh, well, you could do both.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Nick Lachey is Vanessa.
Vanessa
Mm-hmm.
Lachey, but what was her?
I don't even know.
Doesn't
And
matter. They're
then
married now.
Jessica's was the football player. What's
I
his
don't
name?
know.
Something Simpson. No, that's her.
No, it is.
Mr. Simpson.
He's
Yeah.
he was a football player. Yeah. He was meh. Anyway.
Anywho,
Okay. Ooh.
yeah.
Eddie Cibrian and Brandy Glanville. And now
Do you know this one?
he is married to.
Leanne Rhymes.
Yes.
man.
I'm
I hope you guys do like
good at
trivia
this.
together, but you bring
I know.
her.
Yeah, she's my trivia.
Yeah, okay. Her too. I don't remember anything. How about this one? Ashton Kutcher and Demi Moore. Who's he married to now?
Mila Kunis.
Yeah.
Well, and who
Who's
was
she
she married to before?
Was she married to somebody
Yeah,
else?
she
Of
was. The guy from
course.
Die Hard.
Uh-huh.
Ooh.
Bruce Willis.
Oh, Bruce. Oh, Demi. I was
Oh,
like,
Demi.
I thought you were saying Mila Kunis was married. I was
Oh,
like,
no.
what?
Uh-uh.
Okay, one more. Gabrielle Union and Chris Howard. Who is Gabrielle
I don't
Union married to now?
I don't
Oh,
know.
you
I
mean?
saw her,
Wait, I
though.
thought she was married to Dwight Howard. that
Chris
who-
Howard.
Chris
Oh, she's
Howard.
married to Chris.
She
I
went
think
from
you just
football to
mixed-
basketball,
you
which is your
mixed-
clue.
Yeah, and
Oh.
Dwight Howard, I think, just died.
What?
No.
Dwight Clark just died. we're mixing them together.
Oh,
We
Dwayne-
definitely should not
is
go
she
to
married
trivia
Dwayne-
nights.
Is she married to Dwayne Wade?
Yes!
She is.
There you go. Okay, normally you drink if you're not doing well, but you guys won this game. So
Thank
you
you
should drink.
so
Okay,
much,
we'll drink
Jamie and
anyway.
Courtney.
Drink.
Remind everyone where they can find you guys and your services.
You can find us at simplydivorce.com.
And what
That's the
about on
best place.
social media?
Yeah, and all the
And,
socials.
they
simply,
stalk you.
and you can look
You can
look
follow
us up
us
at
on
Simply
Instagram
Divorce.
at Simply Divorced. It's all the same.
You
name.
guys.
And if
they-
you want to date Jamie,
Yeah.
you either
Yes.
contact Courtney
Yeah,
or
or
you
Jen.
contact us here.
Feel
Yeah.
free to email me directly.
Right.
I have a lot
Courtney
of
at
filters now.
simplydivorced.com.
Exactly.
Love it.
We're
Yeah,
your dating bouncers.
That's not off-putting. Email me at Courtney at Simply Divorce. Like,
I'll set you up and I'll split you up.
yes. Oh, I like that.
That's your new
Yeah.
tagline.
There you go.
We'll set, yeah, and they do really help with every step of the way, guys. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's good to
Yeah.
know that, and it's probably very settling to come in to feel like these girls know what they're doing. They've been there and they're here to help in
You
an
can relate.
easy, simple, fast way. We love
yeah.
it. That's how we. That's how we like things
We
down
like
here.
things simple and fast.
We do, and
less expensive.
And less expensive. And next week, don't forget to tune in for our guest, the Skinny Confidential creator Lauren Everts. It's gonna
And
be
guys,
fun.
don't forget to follow us on all the socials at Complicated Show. And where can everyone find you, Lauren?
At Lauren Leonelli on all the social medias, and Jen.
Oh, you guys can find me at Jennifer Golden on all the social media.
Chipper.
I was surprised you asked.
I always ask.
I know, I was kidding.
Oh, okay.
It's in the script.
We're not getting divorced. We're not getting divorced. Don't worry.
No.
All right.
Not
Well,
this
we
week.
will see you guys next week. Thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you.
in.
Yes.
Love you a long time.
Oh.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.